Hey, what's up, y'all? This is a segment, new segment that we're gonna have on Time Out with Coach Cam. It's called Bridging the Gap. This is the first episode of that, and just to give you a brief overview of what we're trying to accomplish here is that, obviously with everything that's going on in the world right now, is social injustices and things like that. What we want to invite here on the show is just dialogue, open dialogue for anyone. We'll be honest, we want, white coaches to join us on the show, just to discuss, if you have any questions, or are you confused about something? Because I know there's been plenty of people that's been in my inbox, or, just honestly want to know what they can do to help, what steps do they need to take, or what is really the movement like, and it's been very encouraging to say the least. And the person that gave me the idea is here today, Steve Fletcher. How's it going?
Well, man. Well,
yeah,
good to be here.
good. And Steve, this is the second time for Steve being on the show. He's joined us. I want to be back in February, to talk about the clinics and everything before the whole pandemic and everything caught us.
Yep.
So I'm definitely glad that you were able to share this with me, and we were able to do this.
Right. It was important for me, just not only from a personal level, but also from a professional level, is I coach at Laughlin.
Right.
And I've had the opportunity the last 5-6 years of mentoring, young black children, and learned a lot from them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we can all be educated better. And I think, the power of social media, the power of Twitter sometimes isn't the true message, and 14, 15, 16-year-old kids can be easily manipulated, you know what I mean? So, especially when they come to me, somebody of a different race, and they ask a question or they want a personal opinion, I want to know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean?
Right,
and I want to be not only upfront with them and honest, but at the same time, have them recognize, look, there's a gap between us, and that's what we got to do here. We got to bridge this gap. We got to come closer together, and the only way you can do that is being educated and asking questions. So
absolutely.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I thought would be an exciting and educational experience for myself.
Yes, absolutely, and I can give you the best answers I can from my personal perspective. I'm not saying it's the law or anything like that, but I can definitely give my point of views on different things. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to necessarily ask me? And like I said, we're open dialogue.
Yeah. Well, one thing that especially I see, with some of our younger kids now coming forward, they're finally participating in the protest. They're finally participating in the marches, which I think is great because, 2, 3, 4 years ago when it first started with the Colin Kaepernick, kids came to me and asked if they could take a knee during the national anthem. And we had no problem with it 4 or 5 years ago. But one thing we did ask them is this your first protest? We wanted to know, have you been to a march? Have you went and listened to a speaker? Have you went and participated in something of an organized event before you wanted to do this? And we still allowed them to do it, but kind of what we was telling them is, look, I don't know if this is the best platform to make your first protest. Be a part of something bigger. Understand what you're a part of before you actually start the protest. So I think nowadays we're getting way better educated, where people are finally starting to understand, look, this wasn't disrespectful against the flag. We're not trying to be disrespectful against our military. This is what it stands for, what I mean? So I think people are more open-minded to accept it. You know what I'm saying? And the question I guess I have is I see people, what actions can be done, from my perspective as a coach, somebody who mentors, young black athletes, to, I guess, help them understand not only what's going on, but how they can take part of it in a positive light. You know what I mean? We don't want them out running around throwing fireballs and destroying property. We want them out being positive. And you know how quick peer pressure can go, and how quick a kid can be taken in the wrong direction. How can I, as a white adult, explain to them this is the avenue you need to go, and have them trust me as a white adult saying that? You know what I mean?
The biggest thing I think that you can start with, because what I think also as a kid, as a teenager, and also, you know, people my age, I just think we want to see, we've heard, you know, words for so long. We want to see, you know, necessarily our coaches, or just white America in general, want to stand behind us and be to sort of be in the forefront with us, because we can't get it done without y'all. Right. Like that's the honest to God truth. Like, period. I understand. I know a lot of times we want to be, you know, black on this, black on. Yeah, I understand. Trust me, I do. But in order for us to move forward to where we really want to go, like, we have to have you guys in the forefront, speaking for maybe. It's been more than ever. Like, as far as protesting and everything like that, there's been more, white males, white females than ever before, and I think that's why the movement has been still lasting. It's still going on. You're still seeing protests. You still see because it's not going away. Because I think we have that push a little. That we have that little push. So, because we've been in our community. Obviously, and some of the kids you coach, they have tough backgrounds. Kids been lied to. They've been, promised things that they haven't gotten, and things like that. So when you see, so words don't necessarily affect us anymore. So we want to see hypothetically speaking, you went to we see you on TV or whatnot, and your players see that. They can see, like, wow, coach is really, he ain't talking about it. He's actually walking the walk too. That's somebody I can get behind. That's somebody that I can listen to and really take heed to what he's saying, because he's not just blowing smoke up my ass. You know what I mean? He's actually, he's actually on the forefront. And like I said, not everybody's meant to go out there and march and protest. No, there's different ways to help the movement. You know what I mean? There's different ways to help the movement outside of protesting. And I'm not saying you do a great job, in the community with the kids. And I think, but there's so many different ways to contribute to this movement, outside of, just your protesting and things like that. But once they see that you're actually doing, then we'll listen to you. Like I said, we're not necessarily combative people. I think that's what people feel. We're not combative. We've never been combative through this whole time of trying to get equality. As far as voting, we weren't angry. We weren't trying to be violent. As far as the bus boycott, we just boycotted. We wasn't angry. As far as trying to get in the schools, as far as schools were segregated, trying to make sure we were able to go to some of the best schools, that was a silent protests. But when people say when you say you go back throwing the fireballs and everything like that, it's just so much frustration. It's so much frustration pent up. And it's like that comes from no one's is listening. Oh, I get it. To us.
Well, I mean, and part of me believes you can't get anything accomplished from a peaceful protest. Part of me really believes that. I mean, if you want extreme change, you're gonna need some extreme actions to get it there. So, I get it. There's a fine line there. There really is. And it's unfortunate, but it's really the only way sometimes you can get people's attention, I think. So, that's just where I'm worried about our kids. We want them so much to, you're the future, you're the generation, you're it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we want them to go down the right path, but at the same time, I have no idea what's going on in their head, and I probably never will understand what's going on in their head. So, obviously we want to be able to educate them the way possible, but you got to recognize there's frustration there. There's anger there. There's buildup there, and at some point you got to let it out. You got to let it out. So, that's kind of where I feel like we as coaches and we just as white adults kind of got to guide it in the right direction. You know what I mean? Because I don't know how to explain. There's going to be emotion. There's going to be anger. There's going to be aggression, but that can be used in a positive light.
And
you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes I just say, and you know what? And it's hard, because most of us, African American men, we're closed in. We don't like to speak on things. We don't like to speak on problems that's in our home. We don't like to speak on problems in general because, we think it's a sign of weakness and we keep it in. We really, and that's to men in general, but, it's really, really, really bad in the African American depression in the African American community amongst males. It's higher than what you would think. I think another thing that would be great is just to be able to just hey man, regardless of random kid or just random kid on the team, hey man, what's going on? You all right? What's going on? You know what I mean? You just to make sure that have that, and even talk about the things that's going on. Like how do you? Hey, I understand what's going on. Like how do you feel? And blah 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 blah. Get an understanding of of what they're thinking because we don't, and sometimes they don't speak. Sometimes they give us 2 words, 2-3 words, and that's okay. But if you just gradually work on them, work on them, and they'll eventually open up because some like I said, not all African American homes are broken or anything like that. But unfortunately we have those in the inner city, and you coach at Lockton, you deal with a lot of that. So it's So they'll eventually talk to you. It's just to slowly break them down to where they'll eventually open up and speak to you, and just let them. And when they do open up, just let them talk because they'll tell you everything what's going on, and they'll tell you the stresses that they have every day, and and it's just, I think for everyone, to everyone out there, just keep that dialogue with your players, especially for your coach out there. And going through, just keep the dialogue with your players. Ask them, what's going on. Are they okay? What's going on? Are you all right? Is everything all right? Because you never know. You never know. And there's more kids than ever committing suicide, and things like that. We've seen, some kids in Little League football have committed suicide. It's sad, because we don't know what's really tapping on in the brain in the brain of these young kids. If maybe a conversation here or a conversation there could have saved a life, you know what I mean? So we just have to make sure that we always keep that dialogue, you know what I mean? And I think that's very important, as far as bridging that gap, because it's most of sometimes, especially with us coaches, that we are father figures. We are father figures to these young men, and they think the world of us, and and we really can't let them down. We really can't let them down. So I always just keep that open dialogue, and listen to understand. Try not to listen to respond. And I think that's where we have to bridge the gap, far as this whole racism, white and black thing in general.
Yeah.
It's just because sometimes like you will ask a question, you're trying to understand, you're trying to gain clarity. I know another guy on Twitter. He's genuinely asking questions like, I'm trying to understand because it was in a AFC North war room group, and some guy called Lamar Jackson a thug, like what I mean, and I'm like, yo, like you got to chill on that, like what I mean, like that ain't the move, like what I mean, and like literally they didn't understand how Thug was kind of upset, the African Americans in the group. I'm like, look, when you hear a thug, like no offense, like when you hear a thug, you don't think of a white person.
No.
You know what I mean? You never do. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, what's this man playing football got to do with thug? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So that's like little stuff like that, as far as just having dialogue, being able to understand, like, what's appropriate there in that sense.
Now that one's pretty cut and dry to me, but I got maybe a couple that I'm confused on, especially right now with the Aunt Jemima syrup and the Uncle Ben's. Me and Kenneth Gilbert had a good conversation on this.
Yeah.
I always saw it as respect. And I know they're now researching and talking to him. Obviously, the backstory is way right. And I understand that. But when is it? I'll say it right. Black barbers fade and cut hair better. I say, now to me that's a sign of respect. Me saying that because I think y'all do. At some point, does that become? Am I stereotyping now? Am I being? You know what I mean?
No, I see what you're saying.
I think black women cook better. This is what it is.
Gotcha.
And now someone will. And obviously, that would kind of be my question. Where does it go? Where is there a line where it goes from respect to now being stereotypical or disrespectful, I guess, is my question.
Right. It is like, it is super sensitive time. So like everything that's being said, I can, be honest with that, it's being taken in a super sensitive way, like, maybe a little overboard. Like at first I had to look up the Angel Mama stuff, to be quite honest. I'm like, hold up. They take Angel Mama syrup? Like what's they going a little bit too far now? Like what's going on? But then I look back at the, some of the old lyrics of the old hymns and stuff like that, and it was like, I'm all for it. Now, when it comes to saying like, like black barbers, cut hair, hair the best, I don't think we would. I don't think that's obviously for me. That's not going too far. I think that's an obvious statement. Yeah. We cut hair the best. And there's, certain things where, I would say the sport, I would say hockey, or I would say, hey, it's a few brothers in that, but y'all the better hockey players. Right, and some stuff is what it is, and it's just not stereotypical. It's facts, you know. And you can't argue facts. You know what I mean? For me, that's not going too far at all. It's where the racial undertone has been kind of pushed aside, like far as the whole Florida Gator thing and the Gator bait chant and everything and what that really stood for. Like that was an undertone and racial thing where it's like, hold up, like let's revisit some of this stuff that's being spewed throughout stadiums. Let's look at some of this stuff that's what's being named after, what it stands for. Let's revisit at some of these things. And I think
some does.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's where I think where we kind of looking at like.
But that does what upsets me about Marge Shock, because they took her money knowing damn well who she was.
And that's true, because Marge Shock was very open with the Reds. We knew she was she was a racist owner. We knew that. That was. I think it was a newer because the Reds was winning World Series championships. In the '90s they was winning pennants and so we turned a blind eye to that, to be quite honest, here in Cincinnati, because the wind, because the the winds was there and the money talked.
But some things are education. My boy D. Wynn, who played at Florida, had no idea.
You see what I'm saying?
Had no idea.
Had no idea, and it'd be swept under the rug for so long that you don't know. But the Marge Shot thing, that's kind of because we all knew who Marge Shot was. Right. But let's just take a huge stand for these athletes, to really just step forward and be like, look, I researched this. This is what this stands for. Like even the whole Doak Campbell down thing in Florida, the stadium, they said, hey, they like, look, Doak Campbell may not be the best fit for the stadium. Let it be Bobby Bowden Stadium. That's fine with us. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not even about white or black. It's about right and wrong. Yeah. And I think that's where we get into too. And I think, and this is not to discuss to you, I just want to tell to the people out there before we go. Because I see certain, some people that I'm shocked to see on my town on Facebook are so combative with the Black Lives Matter movement that I'm like, dang, you really feel this way. And it's almost like, look, we've never asked for an advantage. And I think some whites are confused in the sense where we're not asking to be put ahead of you. We just want fair. We've always wanted fair. We always wanted equal. You know, like I said, you know, Shannon Sharp made a good point. You know, we get hired at a lower rate, fired at a higher rate at our employers. You know, we just want fair, and it seems like certain people don't get that. Like, I'm like, look, like, we just want fair. We don't want an advantage. We want fair, and it's like certain people are intimidated of fair.
I feel that.
And it's like it's blowing my mind, and it's like we're not asking for a whole bunch, really. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I
mean, fair would be, you know, profit sharing in professional sports, you know what I'm saying? And then imagine the dollars that would be put into your culture and your community and those neighborhoods. I mean, that's how you're going to get, you know, that's how that's the problem. You know, the disparity of wealth, the disparity of money across the country is the problem. And that has to be bridged. You know, that gap has to be bridged for sure. Education, police reform, I mean, all those things have to be bridged to bring what you're talking about is just equality. Yep. And that's just it. I mean, so I'm with you on it. I feel that.
And it's something that has to, you know, just I'm glad we're having this conversation, you know, to bridge the gap. And I hope, like I said, you know, I'm reaching out to everyone. You're more than welcome to come ask any questions, you know, and really, you know, dive into some, you know, uncomfortable topics. But it's something that is needed moving forward, so we just get a better understanding of each other. You know what I mean? We, you know, to become all as one. That's the only way we're gonna get these done. But back to what you said about, you know, to wealth and evenly spread it all out. It has to be that. It has to be that. We just have to have an opportunity. Now, if we get the opportunity and we mess it up, that's on us. You know what I mean? But give us an opportunity to build, and let's do it.
We talked how you can do it. You start sending athletes to the historical black colleges and universities. I'm in favor of that, man.
Yeah, I think I'm in favor of it.
That'd be the greatest movement with that'd be the most impactful movement ever. You're talking about one of the most profitable sectors of business in the world.
Yep.
You can completely fluctuate and completely, I don't want to say take over, but get your piece, get your share.
Get your share of the pie, and I think it only take a couple.
It will.
It starts with basketball, though, because, you know, football is going to be rough. You got to spend in school at 3 years, you know, and all that. You know, weight room is a big deal, you know, stuff like that. But if we can start with basketball, I think we'll be fine and get some dollars in, and you can spread that through football, and I think you can get some traction. And I'm all for sending kids to HBCUs because I think, you know, that will, you know, open up their money, generate more money for them. And also, I would like to see more players from HBCU colleges that made it to the league donate more or give back what they can to the colleges. I think that's big as well because, you know, there's plenty of athletes that come from historically blacks right now. You got Tariq Cohen in the league. You know, you got
Jerry Rice did.
You know, Jerry Rice did.
Payton did. Some of the greatest of all time did.
Yep, historically black. So I feel like they, you know, we kind of need them to kind of give back there to help. You know, so. But I appreciate it, Steve, for you coming. You know, to talk. You know, our first episode of kind of bridging the gap. Our first segment here, and I welcome anybody else that want to come in. We can discuss, you know, and get a better understanding. Appreciate you, my guy.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right, we out.